Hi everybody, Hector with Faith and Fandom here, and I'm breaking slightly off the nerd mold to do a devotional on 21 Pilots. New video, Jumpsuit. If you're familiar with 21 Pilots at all, you will see that there's a lot of spiritual themes in their music. I'm not going to call them a Christian band, but they are one of the cleanest bands you can find. And they do talk a lot about faith and spiritual struggles and journeys and doubts and everything else in their music. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of a lot of things. In fact, if you check out the book liner on Vessel, one of their older albums, they actually thank their church and list their church, and their church is pretty much a big fan of them too. But today I just want to do a quick devotional on just how great of a visual for Scripture that the new video Jumpsuit is. Now, I'm not saying lyrically that it's a really good depiction of the Scripture, but when I was watching the video for Jumpsuit, the one thought that just occurred to me is that this is literally a perfect representation of the verses in James 5, 19 through 20. And in the video, you see the lead singer walking through a valley. He's waking up there, and as he's walking through the valley, you see that people are looking down on him, and that he's looking up and he looks lost, he looks confused. Well, then you see the dark figure riding on the horse towards him, and you keep seeing the lead singer stumble, you keep seeing him fall, and the whole time that he's stumbling and falling, this dark, mysterious figure is riding towards him while everyone is looking down on him. And when the figure finally comes up to him, dismounts the horse, walks up and grabs him, by the throat, paints his throat, and does that to him. To me, this was just a really great visualization of what it looks like when you're lost, when you're on the wrong path, when you're stumbling, and honestly, what it looks like when you're in your sin. You start going down the wrong way. You kind of forget where you are. People can see what you're doing, but they can't quite reach you. And then eventually, if you've been down that path long enough, your sin actually gets a hold of you. It grasps you. It gets control of you, and then it starts to pull you in that direction. Well, in the video, you see this as soon as the dark figure grabs the lead singer by the throat. He just starts following him and marching down the path of the valley that he's going on. Now, the people up in the top of the above the valley, they can see what's happening. They can see what's going on, and they start to cast down flower petals. I know this seems silly or a bit different, but to me, it really looks like the flower is the only thing living and growing in that valley as he's being led away by that dark figure. And when they start casting down flower petals, it's like they're getting his attention. They're gently, and I think that's a big thing. They could be casting rocks. They start gently casting down flower petals that gets his attention, and he starts to see the reality of a situation. He starts to see the reality of who he is. He starts to see the reality that he's being led astray and led to death. And so once that actually happens, he kind of snaps out of it, and he turns and he runs as fast as he can from the dark figure. And the dark figure chases him. The dark figure goes after him. But because those people up above him took the time to cast down those flowers and cast down that stuff to him, it got his attention, and he was able to run away and to break free from what was literally taking his life away. For me, I really think that's what it looks like in James 5:19. Check this out as the scripture reads. It says, "My brothers and sisters, if one of you should wander from the truth and someone should bring that person back, remember this. Whoever turns a sinner from the error of their way will save them from death and cover over a multitude of sins." And when they were casting down those flowers on him, it literally was like they were turning him away. That they saw him going down that wrong path, that he was wandering away, that he was being led astray. And when they did it, they were waking him up. They were casting him out of that darkness, of that death. And then, the last image you see of him when he's in the valley is that he actually is taking those flowers and he's laying down with those flowers. And it's like he's dying to his sin, and then, he wakes back up again. Just to read that verse, "My brothers and sisters, if one of you should wander from the truth and someone should bring that person back, remember this. Whoever turns a sinner from the error of their ways will save them from death and cover over a multitude of sins. And I love the fact that what they're throwing at him is life. They're throwing flowers. They're not casting rocks. They're not casting judgment. They see that someone that they care about is being wandered away, being pulled away, being led astray, and that sin has a grip on them, and they cast life at them. So I just want to encourage you, when you see people in your life struggling, when you see people in your life hurting, when you see people in your life wandering away, don't just stand there and watch them. Do something. But make sure that you're doing it in a way that will actually turn them away and not just crush them. A lot of times when we see someone going the wrong way, we have an attitude or a tendency to crush them or to judge them or condemn them, when really they just need that gentle reminder to turn back to life. And then once they do that, you saw he turned and ran away from the darkness that was pulling him away. And I want to encourage you, if that's in your place and you're going down the wrong path and someone loves you enough to actually wake you up, to remind you, to encourage you, then don't fight that. When you see that you're going down the wrong path and someone's brought that to your attention, run. Get out of there. Run back to life. And as they said at the beginning of the video,
we've been here the whole time. You were asleep. Time to wake up.